This individual to my right has been a warrior for the United States of America his entire adult life, and his greatest fights are ahead of him. I want to introduce you an expert and knows unrestricted warfare better than anybody, the great American general, General Flynn.
Thank you very much. We are going to win. We are going to win. Wow. So I wish that I could stay here with everybody and take photos with every single person, but I am on a mission. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. I am on a mission across the United States of America to not let this country go the way it's going right now. We are in a major transition period in the history of the United States of America. And as long as I breathe, what I call the fresh air of liberty, the fresh air of freedom, as long as I breathe that fresh air, I am not going to allow this country to go the way of socialism, Marxism, or communism. I mean, if you've been following, I've been pilloried in the media this week for things that I may have said or may not have said. And you know what? At this stage of my life, I am beyond the nonsense stage. I am past the stage of my life where I worry about me. What I worry about, and I know that the room here worries about, is your children. Here in these United States of America, this country, through our Bill of Rights in this country, those are the principles, those are the values that we live by. And like I always like to show, because I carry it with me everywhere. This little document right here, this is the United States Constitution. This is the United States Constitution. It is 4,500 words, and it takes the average reader about 30 minutes to read it. In this little piece of paper right here, this little document, there's something called the Bill of Rights. Those are our values. Those are promises that we make to each other. And frankly, for all the people of the world, all the freedom-loving people in the world, and there are billions of them, there are billions of freedom-loving people in the world that are looking at the United States of America and they're saying, okay, what's happening? Steve knows this. Steve and I have been at this for a long time fighting this fight. What is happening? Those Bill of Rights, they basically give us our ability to be free and to have a life that we want to have, that we the people want to have. The Constitution is the fulfillment of the promises found in those freedoms, in those Bill of Rights, in those values, in those principles that we have. So when we talk about what it is that's happening in America today, I will tell you what's happening in America today. And I have been probably in the last 3 to 4 months, I've been in probably 15 states. We are about to go on a tear over the next couple of months. There is an awakening. There is a revival going on in this country. A big revival, a big reformation. People, that's right. Thank you. This community right here is so important, is vital. It is vital to our very lifeblood in this country. I mean, I could go through all of the issues about warfare, about the last couple of decades. I have studied I have studied our adversaries. I know what the 100-year plan is. That 100-year plan has been turned up. Okay? This document. Let me see that book, Steve. You know, it's really fascinating because I met the individuals who wrote this. I had an opportunity many years ago when I was in a Navy assignment. At that time I was an Army officer, but I was in a naval assignment. And they brought these officers that wrote this, unrestricted warfare, over to the United States on one of these diplomatic engagements that we have in the military, these military-to-military relationships and engagements that we have. It's fascinating. It's fascinating because what this is, it wasn't written at the time to say this is how we're going to operate in the future. It was really written about the entire plan of how to have global domination, basically how to dominate and how to become the sole superpower. The sole superpower. When we talk about what is happening in the United States of America today, it's not happening. It's not happening just because people in this country are fed up with the federal government, which I am. I'm fed up with our government. I'm fed up with the corruption that we've experienced and that has been exposed. We have hundreds of millions of people in this country they see it for what it is. They see the authenticity of a Donald Trump. They know President Trump won this last election. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So now what do we do about it? And I can get into every single one of the states where we're fighting. Today there was a major lawsuit dropped by Mike Lindell. I don't know if Mike is going to be here later today. He'll talk a little bit about that. But as we go forward and as we start to think about who we are as Americans and who we are as American citizens and this new federal state of China, this first anniversary, this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. This took a lot of strategic thought to get to this place. So now, who are your partners? Who are your allies? And I will tell you, you're looking at an ally. This guy personally will ally with you. Thank you. And don't kid yourself that this is going to be easy. This is not going to be easy. This is going to come with sacrifice. This is going to come with giving your absolute potential. When I was in the military, I used to counsel young officers and I would say, what do you want to do? What do you think you're good at? What do you think you want to become? And they would say, I want to do this or I want to do that. And I would say, what's your potential? What is your potential? Well, I will tell you, when you are maximizing your potential, and now I'm talking about the new federal state of China. I'm talking about the United States of America. When you maximize your potential, you have to take risk. You have to take risk. Right? Because if you don't take risk, then you achieve nothing. Or you'll just be bored in life. And you'll just sort of wander around like many people in the streets. They just sort of wander aimlessly sometimes. You have to get in there. You have to get into the arena. You have to get into the ring. You have to get onto the field. And then you've got to leave it all there. You cannot do anything in life. You cannot achieve anything in life unless you're willing to sacrifice. And I mean sacrifice time. Sacrifice your life in some cases. For those of us that have served in the armed forces, and your daughter's still in the armed forces, still in the Navy. I always like to say this, that for anybody in here that's ever served in the military, or anybody in here that may have a child serving in the military right now, when that person signs on the dotted line, they're not signing up to be a truck driver or a cook or an infantry officer or a Navy surface warfare officer, they're signing up to give their very life for this country. They're signing up to give their very life for this country. And most young people don't know that. So when we talk about the formation of new ideas, when we talk about the formation of new countries, new nation states, you have to take a look at yourself. And you have to have the conversations in your community. And you have to reach across to other communities like the communities that I represent, which are people who care deeply about freedom. We care deeply about freedom, and we are not about to give it up. We are not about to give it up. So as you create and you form and you write, just like the founders did for the United States of America, they didn't wake up one Thursday night or one Friday night and write the Constitution. It took them years. It actually took them decades to formulate that. It took them decades to get to the place where they needed to be. People like Adams, right? John Locke, and some of the other Ben Franklin, some of the other very famous names of those people that stood there and realized we need to do something better because we cannot live in tyranny. We cannot live in a dictatorship. So as I have experienced my own time around the world, and having been on 6 continents, and having faced some very, very difficult enemies, and having seen what communism does, having seen what the grotesqueness of what communist dictatorships can be to their people, and that's throughout human history. Throughout history. What we have to do is we have to make sure that we shine a light on the problems that exist, and then we talk about all of the good things that we are going to bring to that light. And we have to make sure, as we're out there and you're talking in your various communities and you're talking about forming the formation of this new federal state, you have to do it in a way that actually encourages and enlightens people and makes people want to turn to this. And you have to start looking at who are your champions, because not everybody is going to be a champion. Not everybody is going to have the wherewithal to be able to stand up. Am I okay? You guys are okay. Not everybody's going to have the opportunity, or not everybody's going to be the right type of person to actually stand up and do something. Not everybody has that skill. Some people, they're good writers. Some people are good organizers. And it's like on the battlefield, because this is warfare. This is warfare that we are in. We are, that document right there, that book that I showed you, that Steve has talked about, it really talks about information warfare. Let's not fire a shot. In fact, there's really 6 elements. And the first 5 really have to do with never firing a shot. Okay? Creep in. Everybody understands if I say when you boil a frog, right? When you boil a frog, you put a frog into water and you turn the heat up and the water boils and the frog doesn't know anything. The frog eventually boils and he dies. Where are we as America today? Where are we? And I will tell you, there are hundreds of millions of people around this country that are not about to give this country up. There are patriots everywhere. And I mean 20 million people. I was recently in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're getting ready to go back out to Dallas. We got an event up in Nebraska. These are all places where people are coming together and they're asking, okay, what do I need to do? How do I get involved? I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to step up. Because we cannot take for granted any of the freedoms that we have. And we have taken them for granted. Okay, we have taken them for granted. I do believe that we should have, in some cases, we should have more mandatory service for young men and women going into our armed forces. I believe that. Maybe there's other volunteer things that they can do. But when we talk about China, current modern day China, this is not something, and I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm going to preach. This is not something that happened overnight. This has been going on since the end of World War II. When you start to think about 1949 and then a couple of years later and the formation of the big idea of what was happening, I will tell you, from that point on until now, China has been on a roll, on a path to basically be the world superpower. And the one thing that I like to remind the Chinese, and I hope that the Chinese Communist Party leadership hears what I'm about to say. If it wasn't for the United States of America and the military of the United States of America, the Chinese would be bowing at the altar of imperialism, and imperialism Japan. So this is something that we have to remember. These are the kinds of things that the United States got ourselves involved in and helped. So China today is really a great enterprise or country because of the United States of America giving that to them. And so what we have to do, what this organization has to do, is you have to step in and you have to demonstrate that we have citizens around the world, Chinese citizens around the world in particular, and there are many. And you've got to form yourself, and you've got to create this bond of relationships for everybody to really come together and form this beautiful new federal state of China. It's that important. It's that important. So I'm going to get the hook here. I want to say one thing, that I will go to the gates, meaning that I will do whatever I need to do to protect and defend this country, the United States of America. And anybody that wants to breathe the fresh air of liberty with me, that wants to join me in that endeavor, you're more than welcome, because I will be here and I will be fighting for you. So God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the new federal state of China.
Thank you.